It's your girl, Lady Mocha. And you know I'm going to always pour you a cup of truth, and I'm going to always break you off with a slice of knowledge. Hello, it is Friday. We finally made it to the end of the week. God is good. It is your girl, your deeper in knowledge, Lady Mocha, representing Mocha's Cafe de Paris. Well, you know I'm going to always be serving you wisdom, truth, and spiritual awareness. Again, I want to thank y'all for stopping by to dine out with me this morning. I thought it was very imperative that I presented this particular recipe to y'all because this whole R.Kelly controversy has really gotten out of hand, and not only are we dealing with that, now Michael Jackson, he can't even rest in peace because now there's all kind of accusations that are coming out about him, and sadly he's not even here to defend himself, which actually makes it much worse when you're not here to be able to defend yourself. But regardless of the fact of these situations that are going on, I thought it was imperative that I touched on this topic is because I've been on social media and I've been noticing a lot of black folks are bringing up other celebrities from the past, celebrities of other races that have participated in pedophilia behavior. A lot of people have been comparing R. Kelly and Michael Jackson to Elvis Presley, who has had a history of messing with, you know, underage females. And also there was a singer who actually he had the song Great Balls of Fire. Jerry Lewis, yes, that was the gentleman's name. So I'm on this social media timeline and I'm seeing a lot of people bringing up all of these, singers and celebrities from the past, and they're comparing them to the R. Kelly and Michael Jackson situation. And although, a lot of people have made some significant points, basically stating that, what about Elvis? In the past, he was messing with underage women. Nobody called him out. Nobody said anything to him. Jerry Lewis was not only dating an underage female, the female was also his cousin. Nobody said nothing about that. Not even so much just from the past. They also brought up white male celebrities who also have been exposed, and the media didn't make a big skeptical out of it. Like the guy from the show Seventh Heaven, he played as the father. I can't recall his name, but he played as the father, and he also even admitted to his inappropriate sexual encounters with underage children, and nobody made a big deal out of that. Nobody, it wasn't on CNN, it wasn't all on Fox News. Nobody said anything about it. He mentioned it, and it pretty much got swept up under the rug, and that's why probably a lot of you who are just now hearing this, y'all probably like, what? I never even heard of it, because it wasn't made a big skeptical out of. They kind of swept it under the rug. He admitted that was his name. I just pulled it up. His name is Stephen Collins. He played as Eric Camden on the long-running television series Seventh Heaven. And he admitted to sexually abusing three girls, and this happened back in 2014. And from my understanding, he didn't get the Bill Cosby. His shows didn't get canceled. He didn't get ridiculed. It got swept up under the rug. So, a lot of people made some significant points that it's always black folks that are getting called out when it comes to these type of scandals. But at the same token, the part that a lot of people kept addressing was black folks, we don't come to each other's defense. Like with these other scenarios that I just mentioned to y'all, their race is not throwing them up under the bus, not ridiculing them, like instance, like I stated with the gentleman, Stephen Collins. You didn't hear any white folks or whatever coming forth and complaining and saying that, yeah, he need to get burned. Yeah, y'all need to lock him up and throw away the key. Truth is, even though, they have never thrown their own under the bus, but at the same time, I didn't see anybody rallying together, throwing up picking signs, protesting his innocence. They don't protest each other's innocence either. I don't, and so for y'all to, for black men or black women to state that, other races don't throw their own under the bus, that may be true, but at the same time, they don't support them. I've never seen any of them, unless I'm wrong, I've never seen any of them post YouTube videos or came on the news and said, I know he didn't do that. He's never been that kind of guy. She's never been that type of woman. I don't see them running each other aid and supporting each other either. I don't see them supporting the fuckery movement. So at the same token, that's another point that a lot of people are not considering. Everybody just kind of bypassed it. As for the R.Kelly situation, same thing with the Jussie Smollett, all of these situations that came about. Nobody really made a big issue out of it. Nobody really, said much of anything when it comes to other races. I say all that to say this because black folks, we have this type of agenda where we feel like we always throwing each other up under the bus, but when it comes to other races, they cover each other, they protect each other, they look out for each other. And in my opinion, I really don't think that is so much the case. I really don't think that it's so much black folks exposing and throwing their own under the bus, and white folks on the other hand, they're being hush hush and they're being quiet about it. What I think the problem is with the whole situation, and this is why we can't really compare R. Kelly to Elvis. We really can't compare Michael Jackson to Jerry Lewis and all of these other legends from the past or whatever that has participated in pedophilia activity. Furthermore, I think it is very pointless in comparing Elvis and all of these other celebrities from, the past, because again, the era was different. They didn't have the tools we have now to get exposed. There was no social media. There was no camera phones. Unfortunately, we're all at a disadvantage today because if you do anything wrong, there's so many ways of getting exposed for it. And social media is definitely one of the biggest tools that can cause you to get exposed. This man has had VHS tapes of pissing on females. It's been all type of, immoral activities that's been recorded. That's tangible evidence. Back then, Elvis and the rest of these, celebrities from the past, they didn't have all of these devices to expose them, So again, y'all cannot compare, these celebrities today from celebrities in the past. It's like comparing fruits to damn vegetables. It's just nowhere on the same level. It just comes to a point when people want so badly to overlook somebody else's faults. They have to pick out and find something, regardless of how ridiculous it sounds, to overshadow that person's bad choices of judgment. Even with the celebrities today who have been exposed. Like I said, the gentleman, the guy, I don't know why I'm saying gentleman, but the guy from Seventh Heaven, the show was popular, but he wasn't as popular as R. Kelly is. The more fame and more notoriety you have, um, any mistakes or bad decisions you make is going to be magnified. Some of these guys, they were famous in their own way, but R. Kelly already had a big bullseye on his back because of the fact that he has been in the industry for years and he has a big name. So of course, anything that he did, it was going to stand out regardless of what. Even Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson has a very big name. He has had a lot of notoriety over the years, just his name alone. So of course, the moment he did anything out of pocket, is automatically was going to draw a lot of attention to him. And the thing about it is, we really don't know who these people are behind closed doors. Y'all are running to these people's defense and wanting to take their side like you personally know them. We personally don't know Michael Jackson. We personally don't know R. Kelly. I always found it kind of strange that Michael Jackson always wanted to hang around little boys or young kids. It just was always strange to me as a grown man. I never heard about him with any women. I mean, let's face it. Let's keep it 100. I mean, other than Marie Presley, but and I don't want to leave. I don't want to tarnish the man's legacy, but I'm just being frank. We don't know him. You've never been around Michael Jackson to really know what kind of dude he is. Nor have we been around R. Kelly. We just know R. Kelly for his music. You don't live with him. You never lived with him unless you hung out with him and you sat in the mansion with him. You had drinks with him in the VIP. You really don't know these people to be defending them just because they have the same skin color that we have. We can't necessarily look at it like they want to attack one of our own, because we really don't know what these individuals are truly capable of doing. You don't know them. You only know their name. So other than that, we don't need to be in our feelings and wanting to run to these people's defense and rescue just because the world is exposing them, because the truth is we really don't know these individuals. I'm telling you, as strange as it sounds, there's some people out there with some sick ass fetishes. He may have a thing for young women. He may just love to have sex with young females. There's some people out there that got some strange, weird ass fetishes. You got some people who love to have sex with animals. I mean, just face it, you can't underestimate folks. I'm telling you, people don't always look like the stuff that they do. It's stuff, people out there that got fetishes like no other that you could never even imagine they got. So you just can't go around here thinking you know people like that, because you really don't know them. The reason I state this is because it just comes a point, ladies and gentlemen. We always want to pull out the black card, the white card, the race card. We always want to pull that card out of the deck. But everybody is overlooking the whole general point. The point is, it just comes a time when our demons are going to be exposed. And the truth of the matter is, some of us are not going to be able to get away with certain things that other people will. And the truth is, it's not necessarily a bad thing. And I'm going to break down the elements. It's not so much a bad thing of being exposed, because exposure has a way of making you confront your demons and deal with your demons when you are exposed. And I can give you a better analogy. I'll never forget when I was terminated from my last job as a security officer. And that was not a very pleasant experience for me. And of course, it was quote unquote one of my own kind who caused me to become terminated, because they basically presented some information at me and only that individual knew. So Of course, when the director and the human resource came to me and told me that they were going to have to let me go, they were going to have to terminate me based on something that was simple enough for me to just get a warning, for me to just get a write-up, they didn't do that. They basically told me that they were going to have to terminate me and let me go. It wasn't a serious offense to where somebody got hurt or I stole something from the job. The reason for my termination, they could have easily just gave me a warning. They could have easily just suspended me for a couple of days and had me to come back. But no, they terminated me. And the first thing that came to my mind was, why are y'all terminating me? I didn't say it to them, but that was what I was thinking in my mind. Like, why are they terminating me? I know other people on this job who have done far worse. And of course, they were the opposite color. And not even just that, there was also individuals that was black as myself that I saw violated that job in way more worse ways than I could have ever done. And yet they were never terminated. They never were written up. They never got into any trouble. But when it came down to me, an employee who was loyal for the most part, came to work on time, was always above and beyond, never called in really, never took a lot of sick leave, and all of that was thrown out the window based on one accusation that somebody had used against me. And in the back of my mind, because sometimes, when we get exposed, we always want to resort back to other people who have done the same thing. And nothing has happened to them. And that's human nature. You get fired, something happens. Why they calling me out? Why this person? Why that person? This person, they did this, they did that. Like I said, I knew people who did stuff way worse than me. And make it so bad, the stuff they did was more open than mine was. My situation, they could have swept it under the rug and nobody on the job would even knew. They could have just gave me a warning. Nobody would have knew. That would have gave me time to get myself together and not get back in that situation. They did not spare me. They terminated me right then and there when there was other people who did things far worse, and then they did it openly and publicly, where we saw they did not get penalized or ridiculed for their actions. So I say all of that to say this, because I know y'all wondering, what is the point? Let me get to the point. My point is this. Sometimes when we make decisions in life, even if it's other people around us who have done the same exact thing or worse, and nothing happens to them, you can't automatically want to pull out the race card or pull out the gender card. Well, I'm a woman, I'm black, I'm a man. Whatever card you want to pull out your deck to be able to justify why you shouldn't be penalized for your actions. The truth of the matter is, it just comes a point, ladies and gentlemen, that once you are exposed to certain things and once you get called out, you're not going to be spared the same amount of mercy as other people are. It's not always has anything to do with color, has anything to do with gender, has nothing to do with I'm gay, I'm straight. It just comes a point that once you have been exposed for doing something unethically wrong or morally wrong, whatever the wrongdoing you committed, it just comes a point when it is just your time to get caught. It's as simple as that. Every time a celebrity, somebody we admire, somebody we look up to gets called out, we want to bring up 30, 40, 50 other celebrities of other races, of other genders. We want to point the fingers. Well, what about this person over here? That has nothing to do with the fact R.Kelly made a decision that is going to cost him everything he ever built for himself. It is just as simple as that. The race card, the gender card, it's not going to keep working, ladies and gentlemen. And to be honest, it hasn't worked for us for quite some time. Even with the Bill Cosby thing, we all want to go in and throw a parade and stand outside the courthouse, holding picket signs, free Mr. Bill and all of this and that. And even though I feel like, when people go through certain things or make poor choices, in some cases, certain people should be spared a second chance. And in some cases, it don't matter how well you know that person. You just know that person as a celebrity. That doesn't mean behind their record sales, behind their clout, their fame, their notoriety, whatever clout and accolades they have, that underneath all of that, these are not people who have issues. These are not people who don't have sicknesses. Let me tell you something. Pedophilia, molestation, people who have problems with controlling their sexual urges, these this problem could affect people from all walks of life. Don't think because this person is a rapper, an athlete, or they've been an actor for years, they got a damn a star, whatever they call it, a Hollywood star, on the sidewalk with their name, engraved on it, that these people behind closed doors don't have illnesses, they don't have sicknesses that they never really dealt with. And the truth of the matter is, when you are a person who has fame and celebrityism, that's not even a word, but I'm just saying, if you're a person that has fame or you're a celebrity, what happens is a lot of these people who have these demons that they're struggling with behind closed doors, their money and their fame has been the reason they have been able to conceal it for as long as they have. Versus Joe down the street who lives in a damn trailer park, it's easy for his molestation to be exposed and brought to the forefront because he doesn't have the money to cover it up. So it definitely does play a different part when you have the connections and you have the clout and you have the dollars. You can conceal and you can hide behind your demons. But what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? What is starting to happen is God is allowing these things to come into fruition to show people, average folks like us who are not in the limelight, who admire all of these celebrities and all of these people who we feel, we idolize and we give all of this credibility to. God is allowing these things to come into fruition to show us that, look, this is the reason why we don't need to be worshiping and praising these celebrities and giving them all type of glory, because behind the fame and behind their name and behind all of the accolades, underneath the surface of that, there are a lot of them are just human beings just like us at the end of the day, who are still struggling with personal demons that they have never dealt with. Whether that demon is molestation, pedophilia, tendencies, alcohol, abusiveness. There's so many different demonic levels that so many people are struggling and still don't have a handle on. My personal intake with this R.Kelly situation, I look at it from a totally different standpoint. And it takes a person with a lot of wisdom and knowledge to be able to see things beneath the surface. Why the average carnal-minded black man or black woman is looking at R. Kelly's situation like, oh, they just want to take a brother down because he's a black man. Oh, and black people want to destroy this man because they've been hating on him, and why we don't support one another, why we want to throw out on each other on the bus. Let me say something. Nobody in this world, we give each other too much power. We give each other too much credit. Nobody in this world has the power to bring you down but God himself. Nobody. Stop giving people that kind of power. Nobody is designed to have the kind of power to build you up or destroy you. A lot of the things that we go through, ladies and gentlemen, it has nothing to do with somebody threw us under the bus or somebody exposed us. Y'all are not looking beneath the surface, okay? What you're not understanding is we bring our own selves down. We bring our own ruin upon ourselves. This whole situation with R. Kelly, he brought it upon himself. It has nothing to do with black, white, right, wrong. His fame has nothing to do with that. Who's to say this man has been having this issue for years? And maybe throughout the process of him struggling with this demon, he probably knew long time ago he needed to stop doing what he was doing. But he just didn't have the self-control or the willpower to not continue to do it. And then also, his pride and maybe his ego played a big part into it, making him believe that I can get away with doing this as long as I can get away with it. Even though I know it's wrong, but guess what? I'm R.Kelly. I'm going to continue to keep doing what I do. I say all that to say this. Sometimes God has to bring exposure in order for us to be delivered from our own demons. Because if you think about it, if you look back, if you made any decisions in your life, let's say you got caught doing something that you know you shouldn't have been doing. Think about it. Had you not got caught, you would have continued to keep doing the things that you were doing. And sometimes what the devil meant for bad, sometimes God means for good. Sometimes God has to put your problems on stage for the whole world to see it. That way you can deal with it. Because if it's not brought to the forefront, you're going to keep lying to yourself. You're going to keep continue indulging in immoral and unethical behavior, because the truth of the matter is you're not getting caught. You haven't been exposed. And sometimes we may look at exposure as a bad thing, but you have to look at it. Most people who have been exposed, those are the ones who are who can be delivered. God cannot heal what we don't reveal. As long as we can keep hiding our dirt behind closed doors, God cannot deal with us. God cannot heal us. God cannot deliver us as long as we can keep hiding our problems. When I saw that interview with R.Kelly and I saw that meltdown and I seen how he carried on, in everybody else's eyes, they looked at it like they looked at him like he was crazy. This dude has a mental illness somewhere, and all of that may be true, but I looked at it a little deeper than that. When I seen him pouring down in tears and having that meltdown, I looked at it as a very troubled man who has been struggling with this demon for years. And now the demon has defeated him. And that is what happens, ladies and gentlemen. You have to look at things from a spiritual standpoint. Sometimes the devil will allow you to get away with something for a very long time, to the point to where you feel invincible. You feel powerful. You feel like you can't be stopped. You feel like you are a force to be reckoned with. And what ends up happening is, once the devil has got the best of you mentally, he will use that to his advantage. And that's exactly what happened in this case. I strongly believe that, and I'm not blaming everything on the devil, because black folks, we've been known to do that too. But what I am saying is that this is bigger than just R. Kelly. This is the fact that this man has had this pedophilia demon riding his coattail for a long time. And being that he had the fame and he had the success, he was able to ignore it and overlook it and not have to deal with it. And what has happened is it has gotten so far out of control to the point it brought him to exposure. And that's usually what happens when God sends you signs and gives you time to remove yourself from certain situations, but you allow your arrogance, you allow your fame, you allow your pride to make you overlook all the signs God has given you. Because 9 times out of 10, before God brings you to the forefront, he gives you time to get it together before he pushes you to the forefront. And when we keep ignoring and keep disregarding the signs, then God says, you know what? I tell you what. I see you're not listening to me. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to push you all the way up front for everybody to see this demon that you want to keep ignoring. You want to act like you haven't been dancing with the devil. You want to act like you haven't been entertaining him. I tell you what, I know what means the most to you. I know your fans mean everything to you. I know your popularity means everything to you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put your demon on stage for all of those who admire you and love you and worship you to see. And that is what's going on with R. Kelly. It is bigger than the white man. It is bigger than the media want to bring this man down. No, this man he brought his own self down a long time ago. From the first time he touched a young lady that he knew was underage. He signed the deal with the devil then. Okay? So while black folks want to post all of this stuff on social media saying we don't support each other, we don't back each other up, you don't see white men and white people throwing each other up under the bus. You know why? You don't have to throw somebody up under the bus once they have been exposed. So I find it's bananas to me that everybody wants to talk about how we can't come together and support R. Kelly while we throwing him up under the bus. He threw himself up under the bus. This man could have got delivered long time ago, but he chose not to because in his mind, he felt invincible. And that is what temptation does, ladies and gentlemen. Temptation gives you a sense of you feeling like, you can't be stopped. You can't be defeated. Temptation is a very manipulative type of spirit. Temptation will tell you, oh, you can do this and get away with it. You can do this and not have to pay for it. You can do this and nothing will never happen to you. Temptation will manipulate you and make you feel like you could never get caught. And sooner or later, when you keep dancing and playing and entertaining the devil, what happens is the devil will leave you to be exposed and will flee the scene. It's kind of like that troublesome friend that will talk you into doing something that's wrong. And as soon as you get caught, they leave you and act like they wasn't there and they didn't talk you into doing it in the first place. That's the same way that Satan works. R. Kelly has been dealing with a very demonic force. And who's to say, even all of these other people who y'all want to compare him to, since black folks, we quick to want to pull out the comparison card. We talk about Elvis, talking about Jerry Lewis, all of these other people, all these other people who got exposed. Who's to say that God did not deal with them? Just because you didn't see them get dealt with like R. Kelly's being dealt with, you don't know what they had to face when they crossed over to that other side. Because if you don't pay your debts here on earth, you damn sure gonna pay for it when it's time to cross over. So y'all cannot say that they got dealt with, if Elvis got dealt with, if Jerry Lewis got dealt with. You can't say for sure. Just because they did not get exposed and ridiculed like R. Kelly, you don't know that. You don't know if the penalty they're paying is 20 times worse compared to what R. Kelly is going through. Because at least with R. Kelly, he's still blessed in this. As crazy as it looks, this man is still blessed because he has time to try to correct and deal with these demons. At least he has time. Everybody else probably didn't get that kind of time. Elvis probably didn't get time to repent. He probably didn't get time to ask God for forgiveness. He probably didn't ask God to please deliver me from this while I'm still here. Some of us don't get time to correct stuff. So if he's getting exposed, maybe that's God's way of trying to save him and say, look, here once again, I tried to deal with you in private and you ignored it. Now I'm putting it out there in public so you can deal with it. Let's see if you're going to deal with it or you're going to ignore it, because I may have to turn up the heat a little bit more to make you realize that I am God. I don't care how big you are with your platinum records. I don't care how big you are to your fans, to everybody who worships you, praises you, until you learn to recognize me for who I am, and you take this exposure as a sign that it's time for you to get delivered and it's time for you to get help, then I'm going to continue to keep turning up the heat. I'm going to make your fans turn against you. I'm going to make everything you love, your cars, your house, your wealth. Think about it. Sometimes God has to strip us of everything in order for us to confront the demons that we keep serving. And regardless of what, I strongly feel R. Kelly has finally come to a place where God has become fed up and said, you know what, you're going to have to deal with this. one way or another. And it's not just for R. Kelly. It goes for all of us. Sometimes when you dance with the devil and you play games and you doing all type of shady stuff behind closed doors, it's like anything else. What you do in the dark won't come out in the light. But some of us are too carnal minded to understand. We thinking that when we get caught, it has something to do with that person. That person threw me under the bus. Even in my situation, I knew that my reason for being terminated had everything to do with the individual who exposed something that I did that only me and her knew about. And the first thing that came to my mind, I wanted to get angry with her because I knew nobody else knew but her. So I automatically pulled out the blame card out of my deck. But after a couple of weeks went by, I came to the realization that God had allowed me to go through that situation for a reason. It was bigger than just being terminated from that job. I knew long time ago, God gave me signs to leave that job long time ago because I've been seeing things that was unethical and immoral, but the money meant more to me than the immoral things that I was witnessing on that job. I saw a lot of shade. I saw a lot of backstabbing, and God kept telling me a long time ago, when you get your degree, you need to leave this job. And I'll never forget, I was going on, I was passing my 5 year, and God brought it to my attention when I got my master's degree to quit that job. He said, just do your 5 years here, get your degree, and you need to leave because this job is not going to be right. It's not going to be right for you. This job is not going to be fair to you. I've been told all the signs were there. I saw I should have been cashed my check in and left. But what happened was when it was getting closer and closer for me to make a decision to leave, I got comfortable. I got complacent because sometimes moving on and starting over is scary. It's scary to start all over, especially when you've been knowing only what you know within that period of time. Sometimes we become complacent with where we are and we are afraid of change. And that's exactly what it was. I was afraid of change. I had gotten complacent because I was the kind of person, I don't like to move from house to house, from job to job. If something is working for me, I want to stay put. I don't want to jump from one thing to the next. And I really felt like I was being taken out of my element by having to go and look for another job. So I overlooked all of the signs God showed me to leave. And what ended up happening was he put me in a position to where I had no choice but to leave. Because sometimes when we don't have the courage to leave situations, or we don't have the courage to walk away from certain situations, well, what happened is sometimes God will turn the heat up to where you don't have a choice. And that's what ended up happening. Even though in my mind, I want to stay where I was, that was not God's plan. And it was easy for me to sit up there and blame, well, they been had it out for me, and this happened, and I'm a black woman. I had 1,000 things I could use as blame for why they terminated me. But I looked at it from a deeper spiritual standpoint, and God brought it to my attention. He said, you know, a good seed cannot grow in dirty soil. And with all of my skills and all of my knowledge and all of my wisdom, God did not want me to put no more into that job, no more knowledge, no more wisdom. God didn't want me to didn't want me to soil any more of my good seeds into that dirty job. He didn't want me to he didn't want me to put anything else into it. He didn't want me to invest any more time, invest any more knowledge, and invest any more wisdom because he knew that job was not the place for me, and he knew I was never going to grow there. He knew it. And sure enough, when they terminated me, everything I've been hearing about that job, I've been running into people who know I used to work there, and people been telling me, good thing you left. It done got worse. This is going on. That's going on. They done changed this. They done changed that. I've heard nothing but negative things about that job since I left it. And that was God's way of bringing it my attention and saying, this is the reason why I had to remove you. Because good seed cannot grow in dirty soil. And I tell you that some things, no matter how much good effort you put into it, if it's dirty and it's a lot of griminess in it, all of your good efforts is going to go in vain. It really is. Because some situations, certain opportunities are not meant to promote you. They're just using you for their own personal agenda. And I knew that's what was going on within that job, within that particular job at that time. I had way too much wisdom and way too much knowledge, you know, for that job. And the part about it was they would have used it to their advantage, and I would have never really benefited regardless of what. And they would have been able to benefit off of my wisdom and my knowledge because just a little bit that I did put into the job, they utilized that to their advantage. So had I stayed any longer, my wisdom would have kept growing, which meant I would have continued to keep putting more and more energy and more of my knowledge to that job, and they would have kept using me and using me to their advantage, basically. And God was like, you know what? No, I'm not letting you put any more time, invest any more of yourself into this job. I'm going to remove you. Since you don't have the courage to remove yourself, I'm going to remove you. And that's you, and that was just something I came to realization and realized that God had bigger and better plans. So with that being said, I know I'm digressing. With this whole R. Kelly thing, everybody wants to compare Elvis and Jerry Lewis and all of these people. First of all, that was a totally different era. Their laws back then are nothing like they are now. Back then, Elvis them didn't have to register for being a sexual offender. They didn't have to report to a probation officer and all of that, parole officer, and if the laws were not designed to deal with pedophilia as the laws are today. So I cannot understand for the life of me why so many black men and black women are posting all of this mess about everybody wants to talk about R. Kelly. Why we want to throw R. Kelly up under the bus. Why we ain't talking about this and why we ain't talking about that. It comes a point, and I'm going to leave it at this. When it is your time to get exposed, it is your time to get exposed. It got nothing left. Has nothing to do with who else was doing the same thing you did. If y'all both been stealing out the goddamn cookie jar for years, both y'all got away with it for a long time, and so happened today, you got caught with your arm in the cookie jar. Even though there's been other people who've been stealing out the cookie jar, maybe even way more times than you ever did. This is only your third time stealing out the cookie jar, but your arm got caught in it. Do you really think it's going to matter if somebody else been stealing them? When it's your time to get exposed and it's your time to get caught, it is just your time. It's as simple as that. We can't keep condoning and justifying and pointing fingers. Realize at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, whether you're a black man, a black woman, white man, white woman, realize that whatever decision you make today, it can come back to haunt you. Whether if it haunts you tonight, tomorrow, 2 weeks from now, a couple of months from now, years down the line, just realize that whatever decision you make, it can come back to haunt you when you least expect. And guess what? When it is your time to get exposed, nothing that everybody else has done is going to rescue you. You're not going to be able to pull out the race card. You're not going to be able to pull out the blame card. Like I stated, when them people told me they had to terminate me and let me go, nothing I could have said at that point would have redeemed me, would have made them overlook what I did. So we have to take accountability, ladies and gentlemen, for our actions. It's no different than if your mother or your father caught you doing something and you want to blame your friends. Well, if they jumped off the bridge, oh, you're going to jump too. How many of us have heard that? We have to take accountability and realize that sometimes exposure brings deliverance. Now that he's been exposed, this is his time where he can get help if it's even possible to help him at this point. This may be his time where he can really deal with the struggles he have been struggling with throughout all of these years. Sometimes exposure brings deliverance. When your demons have been brought on stage, now you can either deal with them or you can keep denying them and keep living in denial with it. Either way it goes, until you deal with your own personal demons, you're going to continue to keep getting ridiculed by the world, because that is the way the world operates. Especially when you're a man or a woman with much success and much accomplishments. Realize the more you have accomplished, the more successful you are, the more you can become a target to those who shun and despise people of success and accomplishments. So again, if you do not want to have to fight in the ring, you don't want to have to fight against another opponent, don't cause yourself to have to get put in the ring in the first place. Okay? You don't want to get burnt by the fire. Don't go nowhere near it. Don't even create the goddamn fire if you don't want to get burnt from it. Okay? So anyway, y'all, this was just my own personal perspective, because I got so fed up with people bringing up this old stuff and what about this person? What about this person? We all are grown, okay? Let's stop this kindergarten, perception is, well, I know I did it, but what about him? What about her? Once you get caught, it's just your time. Either you learn from it, grow from it, or continue to be in a situation that you're in. And guess what? You're going to be going through years and years of hell trying to redeem yourself and earn your self-respect. Anyway, y'all, it is your girl, Lady Mocha. And I'm going to always pour you a cup of truth and break you off with a slice of knowledge. If you didn't already, make sure you hit that notification bell. Make sure you subscribe. Definitely, I would like for y'all to give me y'all intake on this situation. Do y'all really feel like every time one of our own gets exposed, we got to pull out the race card, we got to pull out the blame card? Do you really, really think it has anything to do with skin color or the fact that somebody is famous? Or do you strongly believe that, look, it just come a point when your ass mess up and you get caught, it's just goddamn time for you to get caught. It's as simple as that. Anyway, that's my perspective, but I would like to know what you ladies and what you guys think, because I'm just so over the damn goddamn race card. And I'm not saying it doesn't play a part, because we still want to deal with racism. That's a fact to the day we die. Racism going to forever exist. But I just strongly feel there comes a point when you get exposed, that means you have to deal with your demons. So again, leave y'all opinion, leave y'all comment. Also for those of y'all who are interested, don't forget I still sell cable. 7,000 channels for only $25 a month. I have all your premium channels, and plus you get free pay-per-view events. If you are interested, hit me up and I will be glad to give you some information. I can sign you up today for cable, and I can also send you a free trial, a free 24-hour trial before you actually purchase my cable services. You just have to have a Fire Stick, and you also have to have internet, and I can send you a free trial. So anyway, y'all, it's your girl, Lady Mocha. I'm signing off, and I'll holler at y'all soon. Bye.